And sorry that this initial thing didn't record. It did not record the menu, but we are doing Rise of the Tomb Raider as a little aside because, quite frankly, Secret World was getting a bit boring.
Yeah, it's an MMO. That happens. So I'm Falconeer 111.
I'm Mycroft Holmes, and this is actually a story-driven game. I very much enjoy the reboots. I did not play the originals when I was young, primarily because I really wasn't interested, and my parents probably wouldn't have bought me Big Booby Tomb Raider game anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, there it comes back. Sorry about that. My recording software fucked up, and believe me, there's a lot of cutscenes to sit through, so I'm not recording that again. So here we have Laura and Jonah from the last game. None of the other characters return.
They're done. No amount of money is going to get them through those mountains.
The lost city's up there.
Those are some intimidating fucking mountains.
Yeah.
That's going to be a hell of a climb.
I'm not turning back.
I know.
I can't wonder
Okay,
what's
You should stay here.
let's get this out of the way. He is clearly in love with Laura. Laura does not reciprocate. So he's kind of just like a one-sided affair thing going on. It's kind of sad.
I always
Like I get what they're trying to do. They've essentially reversed the woman pining for man and made the man pine for the woman, which just makes it come off as odd.
Yeah, it doesn't make the trope any better. It's still a tired.
It's
a
very
crotch.
much that I watch this and I'm like, Jonah, literally this woman is not worth it. This woman is not worth it. Why are you doing this?
But the snow coming off those peaks?
As an aside, for coming out a number of years ago, this is still a really good-looking game.
Yeah, we kind of have reached the point in game development where stuff, as long as you do the right stuff,
Let's take it easy here.
you can make stuff that just looks good in general and looks beautiful in general. Like I mentioned before, I'm playing Skyrim. I'm playing vanilla Skyrim right now. And everyone will tell you vanilla Skyrim is the worst thing ever in every conceivable way and so on and so forth.
Your dad would be proud.
But
I know, but I have a good
it's
feeling about
actually way better than I expected, even on low settings. It's still visually impressive, like
this. Shit.
the remastered edition at least, all these years later.
Lost my footing.
And without any of the mods everyone says you have to take.
I'm just surprised when they get out of that damn engine. They're using the thing for Starfield.
Oh, yeah, quick time events.
That was close.
Laura, are you all right?
Jonah! I'm here!
I'll climb down.
Things from the last game. Jonah is Polynesian. I don't remember what island in Polynesia he's from, but I think he's New Zealand. I think he's Maori. It's been a while, don't quote me. And I decided to do this because I both enjoy the game and there is not currently an LP on the LP archive.
You always gotta fill that always gotta fill that gap. God, there's so many, like, I'm the sort of person who will very vociferously promote people LPing things that have been LP'd already if they want to LP them. Like, I have supported dueling LPs in the past on principle, but getting stuff that isn't out there in there is also nice.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
So new schedule will probably be us doing Saturday. We'll do the MMO, and then Sundays we'll do this. And then I'll send those both off to my editor in England, and he will get back to me when he gets back to me.
Not bad. If the weather turns
I should be making a joke about something stereotypical British, but it's just not coming to me right now.
I know this is a long shot, but that old tracker said he
I really enjoy this game, and I think you will too, both for the setting, just for the setting. Like, they do a lot of interesting historical stuff in this series.
Yeah.
The third one does not come together the way it should. You could very much tell there was a lot of, well, how do we work this, and it just doesn't come together. But it's still very interesting.
And which one is this?
That one's in... The third one is in Mesoamerica, and we'll probably do it after this. I mean, as long as you're up for sitting here for an hour, couple hours every weekend.
Yeah, whatever. Honestly, it's better than just sitting playing video games.
We're close
That's
to the
true.
It's sitting watching other people play video games.
Just his last stretch to the
Yeah,
top.
yeah. I'm doing most of the effort.
Let's see what's up there.
I have to play, record, pay for the editing. You know, this is just a hobby for me.
Hey, look, for me, I go on and then I spend 5 minutes exporting everything, and then that's great.
Okay.
It's all gravy.
Now, one of the things that Tomb Raider does is climbing. It fucking loves cliff climbing.
You ready?
Let's do it.
God,
It loves these set pieces with cliffs.
I remember.
Which just, oh my god, you know, my asshole puckers just thinking about climbing like this.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's
Like,
take it
God, I
slow and
remember the
steady.
first time
Stay with me.
Assassin's Creed 1 was the first time I ever actually saw any kind of real climbing,
Shit.
just like open world climbing, and that was jaw dropping.
Mm-hmm.
I actually saw it when I was visiting a family friend in Montana. We were at their house because there was nothing else to do because it was Montana, and he had an Xbox, and he gave me a choice between BioShock 1 and Assassin's Creed 1. And he opened up BioShock. I watched the intro movie where a guy gets his hand drilled through, and I was like, I'm a little too young for this. I'm gonna back off. But then we beat Assassin's Creed 1 just all the way through in a week, and it was great.
I can make it.
Yeah, I never got into the early Assassin's Creeds because of the control scheme and the stealth was just too punishing.
Stay down.
Yeah.
But I did love Odyssey, Valhalla,
I'll give you some slack.
you know, whatever the Egypt one was.
Origins, I think.
Almost
Yes.
there, Laura. You got it.
You know, a lot of people didn't like the turn Origins took. I was fine with it. I especially liked, like, Video Game Donkey had a big takedown video of that. And I was like, you really didn't pay attention. This is thematic and according to the Egyptian religion.
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling
let's-
that like the early Assassin's Creed games are kind of unlike anything else, and modern Assassin's Creed games are Ubisoft
I
games,
see the ruins.
and there
That's
is a
true.
lot of betrayal.
Oh god.
There's a lot
And
of
now
people
we
who
come
hate-
to the let's fall off the mountain set piece. Oh god.
Ugh, that's bone
Just
breaking.
imagining this happening to you is horrifying.
Can you hear me?
I mentioned to Minecraft before we started recording, I'm familiar with the series mostly for its reputation of making Laura suffer. So, this is...
Yeah, that happens mostly in the first game, but she gets knocked around in every game.
Swing me to the other side.
Okay, here goes.
I mean, there's that part in the first game where she falls into like a lake of blood and comes out, and it's like, Jesus Christ, what are you doing to this woman? But yeah, Jonah, dude, this is not worth it.
I mean, in a situation like this, he probably... When I say he likes it, it seems like I'm saying he likes getting ignored. I think I'm willing to bet that he likes doing this shit, and that the crush on Laura is just a drive, like, almost an excuse. It's, you know, there are people who are like,
There's part of that, but he very much in a later cutscene makes it clear you have what you want right here. You don't need to go to the ends of the earth. And it's like, okay, dude.
eh.
Like I said in an earlier, I think I said it literally 5 minutes ago. They reverse the gender roles for the love story, and it just makes it all the. It makes you see how that is very toxic.
Yeah.
I do wonder where the hell this airplane came from,
Yeah,
though.
it's almost certainly just a random crash. It's in a big mountain range, and given this, like, I don't know. And you said this is Siberia, right?
This is Siberia. One of the first areas is actually an old gulag.
Yeah, then it would not be too shocking for me to see, like, I can't really say Soviet engineering was amazing. It's like, so I'm not too shocked to see just a random plane crash in the mountains as a set piece. As long as you're not
I
running
mean,
into random planes.
mountains are always fucking dangerous, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised any plane crashes in the mountains.
Like, yeah, exactly. And as long as it's not a crash every once a scene, you know, then because that like it wasn't that.
I can't wait till we meet the big bad of this, because they're like, really, you're going with that for the big bad?
Does he look like Rasputin?
Oh no, not the bad guy. I mean, the bad guy organization is like explicitly works for the Catholic Church.
Oh, right.
They're like a Knights Templar XP.
Yeah, the Templars were the good guys in the last game, and the other game we're doing, and now they're the bad guys in this one.
Well, they're only the good guys if you're not Illuminati.
They're only
Or
the good
dragon.
guys by default.
Too swiftly taken from
Yeah.
it. We age, we decay, we die.
And there's a lot in this about immortality. Like the last game, if you haven't played it, which I advise you to both play it or watch an LP of it,
Does it
was
endure
about
beyond
a
our earthly
a
existence?
woman who would a Japanese
A truth lies at the heart of many myths
mystic,
and
basically, who
stories.
would
A truth not of science,
take over the bodies of her
something
handmaidens
profound.
to live forever.
The key to
And then
unlocking
one of the
the
handmaidens
everlasting
essentially took poison and then got taken over,
I may
so
have found
the whole
next
island
piece
fell to
of the
ruin and
puzzle,
a horrible shit happened. But
I'm not alone
Yeah, I
in
remember
this
reading about that.
search.
And she's based on one of those arguably historical people.
I know them by name now.
We don't
yeah,
even like.
there's the bad guy,
Trinity.
Trinity.
An ancient
Oh,
violent
please.
sect with designs on
You are really
controlling
cut.
the future of humanity.
You've got to come up with a
I
Christian
must
bad
proceed
guy, so you give him the
carefully
name
for the sake of my
Trinity.
family. If anything were to ever happen to
Hey,
Lara
we
or
talked about in our other LP the
I
formation
never
of
forgive myself.
Christian dogma during the Council of Nicaea and where the Trinity comes from. That was in one of our first half of the Egypt episodes.
Yeah.
If you watch the other LP.
God, Trinitarianism is such. I remember somewhere on Something Awful, I describe it as a theological, and then I use the Cyboom emote because it's just it is so weird. Excuse me, I need to. Sorry, Mr. Editor, you're gonna have to take this one out. It's allergy season where I am.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, whenever the pollen comes, my dad it's horrible for him. And Laura is very clearly traumatized by everything she's been through on Yamatai. I mean, with good reason. That was a horrible experience. So she's like 100% ready to just fucking murder a dude.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, I'm so sorry. What are you doing here? I saw the gutter press was attacking you again. I thought you could use some company.
Oh, I love this fake song.
You followed? Followed? Of course not. What's going on? I think I found the tomb. Oh, you can't be serious. The myth of the prophet is real. Dad was right. Laura, your
I
father
mean, I
was-
get everyone thinks she's
No.
crazy,
He was
but
close to
the thing I
Edward's
never
soul,
understand about
tangible
these sorts of
evidence
plots
your
is,
mortal soul.
if these artifacts are common enough
I
that
loved Richard.
that all this shit happened,
I would have married him.
how do you keep that shit secret?
But he was a broken
You know,
I
it's the
mean,
conspiracy.
it's the same. It's the same thing. Problem we had. Like, there isn't a huge conspiracy keeping it secret here. We meet one conspiracy.
Syria? Oh God, Laura, no. This is madness.
It's the conspiracy paradox.
Go
The
home.
bigger it gets, the more
You
people
know, I
who
can't
have
let
a
that
reason, the more humans
But
you
this
have to have who
obsession
keep it.
ruined your
And
family.
humans have a habit of fucking up or spiting each other.
I saw something.
And it just gets
Something
like
I can't
people can
explain.
keep this shit going for
Now I
years,
understand
but
what Dad was
not
going
that
through.
long. And not something this
It's-
big.
It's all fairy
It's the
tale.
same reason I don't believe any of the JFK stuff. Someone would have leaked. It would have leaked by now.
Somebody would have ratted. And not just like some
But-
random person, but like someone
I'm
actually,
going to find the prophet's tomb.
someone who would have tried to use it to like get power and influence.
My dad actually heard a new one, basically.
Oh,
So he heard a new one that was essentially So Oswald fires the first shot at Kennedy. The Secret Service panics,
We're
pick up the
close.
new gun they've been
Should be
issued
always
with,
see
which is the
Callum just
M16.
You're wasting
And
your
remember,
time.
they had been partying the night before.
Just keep driving, please.
So the new conspiracy is the Secret Service accidentally shot Kennedy with an M16.
Something isn't right.
That you had to. So
Oh, that's just local militia.
there's a that gets rid of some assumptions and it substitutes into a whole
You
bunch
told
of new
someone, didn't you?
assumptions.
They paid
Yeah, I mean, my first response to that was, so the Secret Service managed to keep this covered up in the face of the FBI and the CIA?
Yeah. And it's not like the it's not like inter-service rivalry isn't a feature of like American politics, not like American internal politics.
Yeah, and here's our first Tomb Raider cutscene. Laura gets in a car crash.
And just shakes it off, apparently.
Oh no, it gets better.
Oh no.
That's gasoline.
Where did she pick that? Does she just carry that around with her?
Honestly, it's like a totem to her. It is literally clipped to her waist. She carries it around because in the first game she got it from a man she very much respected when he died. He died protecting her, so she took his climbing axes off his body.
No turning back. It has to
So
be.
yeah, she
Near the
has,
end of the game, you could unlock traits that let you melee kill like heavy enemies really quickly by just dodging and then pressing triangle. And I would do that in the final level. I was just killing everything with the climbing axe, ascending this rotting tower with heavily armed thugs trying to kill me, and I'm just killing people with a climbing axe.
God,
There
I
was
remember,
something in
or
Dad's
like
research
Assassin's
about
Creed
this.
2, finding my way through the final level with my bare hands, and every time somebody would come up to me, I would just, I'd use like reaction commands, whatever the term was, the counterattacks. I would take their weapon, I would kill them with it, and then just drop the weapon and go to the next person. I took a great deal of pride in doing that. I thought it was great.
And we get our first artifact up here. I will not be...
Something's here.
You can pause the video if you want to read what everything says. Because otherwise it would take too long.
Religious icon. Detailed and inlaid with gems. It looks Byzantine, perhaps.
So, our first thing is a Byzantine religious icon in a particular shape. Which is very much not the cross. It is not the cross. All the lines are equal. It's not the cross.
Well, it's not like the traditional cross. There are a bunch of different variations on the cross that are just like everything from the Maltese cross to like various other Western European interpretations. But like, oh, and
Some
that's
kind of marker. I can't quite
Greek,
make out
which
the
lines up with
translation.
Byzantines. Or no, that's not
This
Greek.
word.
What the fuck is that?
Prophet. This is it. Dad was right.
It's a lot like Greek. Is that Armenian? I don't know.
It's supposed to be Greek.
Okay, he's.
I mean,
shown
maybe
here
it's like
performing
maybe it just
healing
uses forms of
miracles.
letters I'm not
Dad's
familiar
notes
with.
mention
But
this.
So these are religious murals in the style of Byzantine art.
It's the prophet speaking with a foreign
it's
army
very much in
to
the style
convince
of
them to lay down their
um,
weapons.
like how do I put this? Byzantine art. Okay, so you
These
said
are
this.
the
They said
miracles
10th
of the
century
prophet of
or
Constantinople,
10th century.
10th century, which is
unjustly murdered
900s.
by order of.
It's a little. They'd be that. It's a little too realistic, and it's a little
Greek is
too.
still a little rusty, but it's pointing to
No,
something
maybe that
hidden
really is Greek.
nearby.
There are a couple of letters there I'm not familiar with that look like they could just be variations,
I'll mark down the
or
locations.
or it's just programmers, developers being lazy. Both are quite possible.
I mean, they put a lot of effort into this, so I don't know if it's developers being lazy. But admittedly, if you're going to be lazy on something, putting fake writing on the monument is something to be lazy about.
Yeah. I mean,
Because to be fair,
and,
looking up 9th century, 10th century Greek lettering is something to be lazy about.
I mean, yeah, it depends. Basically, question is, could they find one of the like couple dozen people out there who specialize in that shit and then hire them to do it? Because like it's one of those things that we understand how Byzantine Greek worked really well. Ooh, that's pretty.
Yes, I very much question how they had time to build all this shit with the Order of the Trinity on their ass.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that's just one of those things you have to accept if you're gonna play video games.
Yeah, it's weird that they said 10th century. That's actually too early for the Crusades. Because the Crusades were the result of, like, a bunch of really specific shit happening in the Catholic world over the course of the last century or so before the Crusades broke out.
Yeah, I said a crusading order. That's essentially what they are, but they aren't... I mean, I don't know very much about the Crusades, except they're still a hot topic in the Muslim world you don't mention, which is why they didn't buy... I think we have, like, a couple weapon systems called the Crusader and the Paladin. They don't sell well in the Middle East.
Yeah. God. Like, okay, this is... Do you want me to start talking about the Crusades and the cultural context? Because there's a lot
we're
of
not at Crusade stuff yet.
Yeah.
Right now we are very much 10th century Christianity. So if you know anything about Byzantine Christianity of that era, go ahead. Because that is essentially what we're dealing with here.
Order of Trinity pursues
So, okay, there's something that I want to say about Byzantine Christianity, and it's something that I want to point out because,
in their hidden oasis.
like, on the internet there are two views of the Byzantine Empire. One is, like, people saying the Byzantine Empire was the best thing ever, they were the true Rome, and also I'm probably fascist and trying to jerk them off in the grave. There's, like, that. And also, I play a shit ton of Crusader Kings 2 and only play Byzantines. But, like...
Damn it. Come on.
And the other is just, like, is people who don't know jack about it, or who are, like, who have just vague knowledge that they picked up in school. Maybe. But it's worth noting that... that's a nice shot. I have to admire the scorpion crawling into his mouth.
Yeah, this is very Indiana Jones. This is very Temple of Doom.
Yeah. Actually, let me see. That's some... What are they wearing? Which is a really weird thing to say about a skeleton, but I'm trying to look at... I'm trying to see if I can gain anything from, like...
They look like they're wearing scale or lamellar.
Yeah, that looks Byzantine. Like...
The Order of Trinity has...
So essentially that was a note saying, hey, you said you killed the guy. Dude isn't dead.
So the weird thing to me about Trinity and, like, this whole Catholic order facing East Byzantine Christians thing is that happened, like, they were rivals.
I don't know if they're Catholic, but they are very much described as a Christian religious order. So for all I know, they could be ecumenical now. But it seems like a weird thing for a very obviously fascist Christian order to be ecumenical. So I don't know how they deal with that.
And judging by the armor, that helm was Western European. That in the picture we saw of Trinity. Also, I think it dates to after this period, but. Also, A, I think I don't know, and B, even if it is, I don't care. It's too small a detail to care about, you know?
Yeah.
But, like,
This isn't like Call of Duty Vanguard where you're like, how could you make this many mistakes? This is very much, they tried very hard.
They did their best. They did their best, and I would rather have a game that has a bunch of inaccuracies but gets the spirit right and is fun than a completely accurate game that sucks. Oh yeah, there's a torture porn.
This isn't even the torture porn. This just happens to her.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. But like,
It's only we get one of the death cutscenes later in this video. An entire pillar falls on me. But yeah, she does get covered in like dirt and scratches and blood. That happens to her a lot.
mm,
And this is why I like this Tomb Raider. They have great sense of architecture.
mm-hmm.
It always looks impressive, every tomb you find. Oh my god, you should see the crazy shit they get up to in the third game. We're talking wind-powered Incan, Aztec, Mayan fucking thingamajigs.
Oh boy, oh, yeah, I will have opinions on that, because God, like, the level of
Let's save that for the third one. Let's save that for the third one.
One day. Oh my God, what was I?
You were talking about how you'd rather have a bunch of inaccuracies but get the spirit right.
Yeah, and also be fun. In fairness.
Yes, this is a very fun game. Especially especially near the end when you're fully upgraded.
Like, for me, you know, I will take not being racist over being fun, but I will take being fun over being accurate. I'll complain about being inaccurate, but I will also recognize and acknowledge that the game is better for being fun than it would be for being accurate. So, yeah.
So, Byzantine Christianity. You said there were two views of Byzantium. The weird, creepy fascist guy and the guy who knows nothing.
Yeah. And it's worth noting that, okay, so do you know what roughly modern Greeks call themselves? I say roughly because I'm not going to pronounce it right.
No.
They call themselves Hellenes.
Yes.
Do you know what they called themselves when, during the Greek War of Independence in the 1820s, as they were pulling themselves together as a government? Romani.
Byzantium?
They called themselves Romani, as in Romans.
Another religious symbol.
They had, until that point, like, that was the people of, and to this day, a lot of Arabs and, like, people in that region will casually refer to the Anatolia, the peninsula that Turkey takes up, as Rum. Because during the time of the Caliphate, that's what Rome was. They recognized that, like, Rome, the city, was a place, but in the same way that people nowadays don't, lots of people know that America is named after Amerigo Vespucci, but we don't think everyone who lives in the United States of America is like an Italian cartographer, you know? We make that distinction. And that's, as far as they were concerned, the Byzantines were just Romans. And they were not happy with the secular German Confederacy claiming to be a Holy Roman Empire. It was it was a source of tension. So, and I mentioned actually, I think in the last video recorded from that's
the other LP.
Yeah, and the other LP, that if there's one thoroughfare to in Roman society from the beginning to the end, it's connection of church and state. And that's something that is, like, at the beginning, state worship was an absolutely vital part of just Roman city life, from all the temples and all the gods and how they were used to justify leadership, and all the way down to, like, the way that the government actively participated in church administration, and very much the other way around as well. The church constantly interfered in imperial politics. There was no division of church and state quite like we think of it now, though they did have that concept, and there were plenty of fights over jurisdiction. But, like, so Byzantine Christianity in this period was not hierarchical. It was hierarchical, but, like, not necessarily more hierarchical than it was anywhere else, but it answered to the emperor in Constantinople. And that was its heart. That was its structure all flowed to the top. So that was some wild stuff.
My lord, I ride at the head of a small army of the
Trying to
faithful,
think.
armed and ready. And I have
So actually, the fun thing about that structure is that just because things concentrated at the top doesn't mean that every emperor had similar policies and similar ideas about what was or wasn't important. So you had a lot of, like, it was mostly over by that period, but you had a lot of fights over interpretations of theology that boiled out into straight out civil wars and got lots and lots of people killed. Like, have you ever heard the word iconoclast?
Yes. I know what it means, but I don't know the historical history behind it.
So do you know what an icon is?
An icon is a religious symbol, typically of Jesus.
Well, I mean, typically of Jesus, but it can be of any, like, some physical image of a religious figure.
Yes, I know they were banned in Eastern Orthodox for a very long time.
They weren't, and that's the issue. Because basically, there's a long-standing tradition, issue in a lot of strains of Christianity that's like, if you're making an image of a person to worship it, you are worshiping an idol by definition. Even if you're worshiping, God,
an idol
you're
of
still
Jesus.
committing idolatry.
my lord.
So,
Last remnant.
iconoclasm, there were basically two political positions. This was really big in the 600s in the Byzantine Empire. And this was after there was an emperor called Justinian in the 500s who tried to reconquer the Western Roman Empire. And that led to a bunch of shit that is completely forgotten and absolutely vital to understanding the Middle Ages, but I'll get to that later, probably. But I want to talk about the Gothic Wars, because nobody knows what the Gothic Wars were. Whatever. Anyway. Iconoclasm. So, this is after, basically, their imperial ambitions had sort of failed. They'd lost most of everything that was to the west, and they were their religious movement came up that looked at this prominent use of religious imagery and went, that's idolatry, and you are idolaters, and started smashing idols, which people who liked idols interpreted as people destroying, elements of God, to which point the people who were destroying them pointed out, you're getting mad at us Christians for destroying idols. And it just went back and forth, and it did not get any better. And it divided the Byzantine world into camps: the iconoclasts, who wanted to destroy them, and the iconophiles, who liked them, thought they were great. And that's interesting. That's curly. That's a kind of curly hair that I think is usually seen on Westerners. I could be wrong, but I think that's Byzantine clothing. I did not get a good enough shot to be certain.
Yeah, I hate Trinity for a lot of reasons. One of them is they see this ancient historical monument, these ancient artifacts. They plant explosives everywhere to destroy it. Fucking religious nuts.
Oh yeah, these guys.
Yep.
Wait, are these the same guys is this the same organization as?
Yes. Yes, it is the latter-day descendant of Trinity.
The prophet's doom.
That's lame.
After all this time.
Wait till you see what his hands is as.
Inside.
This is the guy with the stigmata.
Oh, he has stigmata? Oh, beautiful. Oh, he does.
Yeah, stigmata is wounds in the form of Jesus' crucifixion. So, through the palms, even though that's not how they really crucified people, blah blah blah. And there's Laura.
Who the hell are you?
You're a smart woman. I suspect you already know.
Trinity.
Where is the artifact?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't play games with me. You led us to this place.
Look,
It was empty. When I got here, there was no body and definitely no artifact.
Why did you take your gun off him? That's like the...
She has the detonator.
Okay, fair.
Get down!
Oh, the historian in me is crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of suck at shooting right now. Yeah, I die during this escape sequence, and we see our first Tomb Raider really way too into Laura dying cutscene.
Okay, so, long story short, most of the Iconophiles, to wrap up what I was talking about, the Iconophiles won. Mostly, most Emperors were Iconophiles, a couple were Iconoclasts, but they pit the... Yeah, ugh. I see what you mean.
It's not as bad as the first game, which is kind of underselling how bad the first game was.
Yeah, and like, I mean, yeah, that was kind of gruesome and kind of, but like, that wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Yeah, the first game caught pretty bad.
So
I mean, the stuff she lived through in the first game was pretty insane. But keep going.
Basically, most Emperors were Iconophiles, and most clergy was too. And the Iconoclasts tended to be rebels of various, like, whether literally or just, you know, they were Iconoclasts in the modern sense of the word, you know. But they fought wars over it. They slaughtered rebellions worth of peasants. Right when they had, you know, the Byzantine Empire squatting on half of their what used to be their territory, or not the Caliphate squatting on half of what they used to be their territory, squaring off and mounting raids into Anatolia, and as like they gradually lost control in what's now like the you know, the western part of the Balkans, as they had controlled a lot of southern Italy at the time, and that didn't last too long after this, and it was just the Byzantine Empire had a nasty habit of eating its own tail. It just could not stop backstabbing itself.
Trinity. They tried to kill me.
What the hell is going on here? You're starting to scare me.
The tomb was empty, but I think they were looking for the divine source.
The artifact your father was after?
Yeah, like, it's really weird though, because
I found this symbol in
I
the
don't know,
tomb.
like,
I
it's
knew
weird
I'd
seeing
seen
a
it
guy
before. It was
who's
driving me insane. That's when it hit me.
I don't know, is he actually, that's probably spoilers. Is that guy supposed to be the same Trinity guy that was in that image and immortal,
No.
or is he just a successor? Okay.
No,
Good.
no, he's just a dude.
He's just a dude. Okay, good.
And here's where we're going: the ancient lost city of Kitesh in Siberia.
How's that spelled? I want to see that.
Kitzeh.
If the divine source is hidden in the ruins of
Kitzeh. Yeah.
That's very... Oh,
Siberia?
Kitze.
Are you kidding me?
What's that spelling?
Just think.
Is that like... 'cause I don't...
Bad transliteration from Greek.
I think so. Maybe... Yeah, that sounds... You can write that in Greek, sort of. But that's a very odd way to write it.
Jonah, we've been through so much together. You know
And at this point, Jonah's like, dude, we went through one whale experience. I don't want to do this again.
I've lost too many friends. I don't want to lose you too.
Dad never made the connection to Kitesh. He gave
Yeah,
up
why are you...
everything
Yeah,
for this.
Laura,
Including you.
after what you
Stop
went through,
blaming
why do you
yourself
want to
for
go
what
back?
happened.
Why would you ever want to go back?
They kind of touch on this in the third game more, but
I can't give up on him.
she's kind of so traumatized that this is the only way she can feel normal,
If you
is,
stayed
I mean-
still
horrific
5 minutes,
adventures.
maybe you'd see
and
I mean,
murder.
I was actually about to countermand myself and say that.
That is literally a plot point 3. Like, the enemy is like, literally all you do is fucking destroy shit and kill people. And he has a point. Because she can't stop.
It's actually a major issue for people with PTSD. There are a lot of people out there who go back into traumatizing situations because, as awful as the situation is, at least they know how to handle it.
WWE Super Slam.
Mm-hmm.
Lara! Holy shit!
Ow. Just shoot. Just
shoot him.
shoot, Laura. Do not. The moment he moves, you should have shot.
Yeah. Why did you hesitate?
She hesitated for the plot.
Shit, Lara.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do?
How many people has she shot at this point? Like,
At least 1,000 people, judging by my statistics in the first game.
yeah.
Siberia it is then.
God, I don't fucking know. So,
Now we're back in present day.
a girl and her sim off to find a lost city.
Yep.
Lara, are you there? I made it to shelter.
Where the hell did you find shelter?
I read that as shitter, and I was like, what? I was
He
like,
might be hiding in an outhouse. I don't know where the hell he found shelter in the middle of Siberia.
Go back.
Did he just find a cave?
Please don't try to find me.
I love how Laura's like, now Laura's like, go away. You got me here, now go away.
I need to do this alone.
Jesus, Laura, you need so much therapy.
You isn't she just like, not just nobility, but like rich nobility too?
Yes, she is. She's independently wealthy.
And she has the money to just check herself into some kind of super expensive therapy thing and stay there as long as she needs to.
Yeah, but she can't do that because they try to cover up the truth of what she saw in Yamatai.
Keep moving.
Which, to be fair, if you saw the shit that happened in Yamatai, I mean, you'd want to forget it, but at the same time, you'd be like, I don't think anyone should ever forget this.
Yeah, but that's kind of what therapy is good at. It's good at,
No, Cam.
like, a good therapist
Well,
exists
yeah, but
exists
the
to help
problem
you find
is
that balance.
the problem is the therapist would say, well, none of that magic shit actually happened, and you didn't really fight Japanese zombies.
Got to start a fire.
If you're rich enough, you can get your, you can basically just pay your therapist enough, and they say, okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
And this is basically just, we have 3 minutes left, but this is
This might work.
basically just me doing this little bit until I get to the first
Not
save
enough
point.
to last the
I have to
night.
admit, I am.
Need
This
to
looks
gather more.
like the first chord, like
Dry enough to
sound
burn.
piece of music I heard in this game, is the same chord that they start the music
Fresh
in
cave.
Skyrim for when you enter a cave, and it opens on a snowy area, and I was like,
Yeah, you fight a lot of wolves in this area.
Back to camp.
okay, so it is a lot like Skyrim, but like,
Yeah, the
it
bad
was-
guys don't say never should have come here, though.
Damn it.
God.
Yeah, they just love making her suffer.
God, they do. But yeah, I do remember. I've seen a few screenshots of the first one, which is just flattened by rocks. And it's, ugh.
Yeah, I'll try to avoid all that shit in this, especially because I'm not playing on the hardest difficulty. I'm playing on like regular.
Mhm.
If you're on the hardest difficulty, none of your survivor senses do anything, and you can't spot the next handhold because it doesn't stick out. So navigating some of these tombs in the third game on the hardest difficulty is just fucking impossible.
Artifact is here. We'll find it.
what of the Remnant?
They continue to resist us, but we'll have the situation in hand soon enough.
Good. Trinity has faith in you.
Trinity.
Going to need a stronger bow.
That is a sad
I wish
cam.
this pain wasn't
Like
so
I understand she
familiar.
couldn't have
Like
done any
looking an
better,
old
but
enemy in the
still.
eye. It wants to take me down. It wants me to just lie down.
Where did
and
she
die.
pick up using the
I
bow?
won't.
Did
I
she know how to do
can't.
that last game?
There's something
Last game
There
she
must
learned
be,
how to
or
use a
Trinity
bow,
wouldn't be in the
and
snowy
presumably
hell.
she's learned how to
Just
craft
hope
a
Tony's
bow
okay,
at some point.
that he found a way back.
This is me trying to figure out which skills I want,
just couldn't
because I have 2
risk
points.
having him with
Mhm.
me. Not again.
I end up taking the
Pain
skill that
of
gets you more
losing him.
XP,
That would be
Yeah,
so I
too
can
that's-
level up
bad.
faster.
This is
That's
my
how
path,
I
and
start.
mine
Just
alone.
that's the first skill I get every time I play any Fallout game. First perk I navigate for, rather.
And that's this episode, this first episode. So thank you
Yay,
for
thank you.
watching.
And we will probably see you later.